the name of the program should reflect what is the problem you are solving. Okay, I'm using my hands here, but right, the name of the program should tell you what is the problem you are solving. So by saying it D3 problem 2, there is no way you know what it is. You can call D3 problem 2 dash, what is this problem about? Okay, so make sure your name is proper. That's one. The second one, okay, so you do have, read the passage, so that is your problem statement. Okay, read the passage from the, okay, yeah, go ahead, explain me. Explain me your code in English.
In this problem, we have a passage and find the count of A.
Yeah, read the passage. So I don't see the problem. I see in the first 4 lines in your comment, you say read the passage, import whatever. It doesn't say what the problem is. What is the problem? So that is the problem, right? So you need to copy paste the problem statement at the starting of your code. Okay? So otherwise, we don't know what problem we are solving. Okay. So yeah, what is the problem we are solving?
Count the number of times the word the followed by the another the without A is in between. Means
without A
count the count the word the in between in between A in between the it's அது ஏக்கு நடுவுல தி இருந்துச்சுன்னா அது கவுண்ட் மட்டும் எடுத்து
ரெண்டு டிக்கு நடுவுல ஒரு ஏ இருந்ததுன்னா then that d is not counted. Okay, so let's see. So what is the example here? This is the problem for the interview. Okay. So the example says
the king went to the forest with the wife and the servant. The king and this is the example.
And a servant went to with the wife and a servant. The king shot a deer. The king went to the forest. Or something like that. Okay. So explain me the problem. So this one, a lot of people had a issue with understanding the problem statement. So in this code, what is the, yeah, explain me what the problem and what the answer is.
In this problem, we count the THT. Including A in between the we don't count the otherwise we count the
otherwise we count the D. Okay, now Dharnesh, can you explain the problem in your words?
Sure. So what I have asked is that we have to count the number of occurrences of the word the followed by another word the without a in between them.
For yeah, between two these, we have. I mean, the sentence will not. It's not going to have the right. It can say the king into the forest, right? So there is the first before the king. There is
between two the word there should not be any word a. So we have to count that occurrence.
Only those the is counted. Okay. So in this case, in this example, tell me how many such occurrences are there?
There. So the king went to the forest. That's number 1.
Right. There is no a in between. Okay.
And then starting from the last the before the forest with the wife. That's 2. And we have a between the wife and the servant, the king, so it's not accounted for. So only 2. Oh, we have another sentence. The king went to totally 3. 4, sorry.
4.
Already I have said 2, and the other 2 are the king went to the forest. That's
Yes.
3, and the forest again the next day. That's 4.
That's 4. So, okay. So you both are clear on what the problem is, because a lot of people had understanding the problem. So the problem is you have to keep on counting the number of these, but between 2 these, if there is a, and then that's not counted. All right. Okay. So how are we going to solve this problem? Now go ahead, Desigan, explain.
I read the passage from using read method.
So you read
From
the
the file.
passage. Yeah. Tell me, explain me one more time. You're going to read the passage
Using read method.
Using the read method. Okay.
Yes,
Got it.
and replace the dot into empty. And the dots are removed.
Why are you removing that? What is the reason for that step? Why do you need to remove the dots? If you're writing code, there has to be a reason, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, line number 12. Okay, you need to read the data. So you are using the open function, and then you are reading it. But why do you replace the dot? I mean, there's a reason. I'm asking you, why did you write that? Why did you write that code? Why do you have to replace? What happens if you don't replace? It's your code.
Yes, ma'am. Sometimes after I mean, D பக்கத்துல ஏதாச்சும் டாட் இருந்துச்சுன்னா அது வந்து சேம் அந்த சர்வன்ட் பக்கத்துல டாட் இருக்கலாம்.
ஆமா.
அது சர்வன்ட்டோட அந்த டாட்டையும் சேர்த்து நம்ம ஸ்ப்ளிட் பண்றப்ப கம்பைட் ஆகி வந்திருக்கு. அதுக்காக நான்
அதுக்காக. Okay. So you want to try it again? One more time, explain it in English.
If you split the passage, the words map.
Yeah, when you split the sentence, if there is a dot after the, then that the may not be counted. So you want to replace all the dots. Okay, all right. And then why are you doing a dot lower?
Lower, there are some capital and small these. I will convert all the small letters, small words.
Small case.
Small case.
Okay, good.
And then split.
You want to keep it all? Okay. Okay. So split it. Now say, okay, here is a problem with the thing. Now those 3 lines, 12, 13, 14, what do you think, Dharnesh, on those 3 lines? Do you have any questions? Do you see any issues with that 3 lines, Dharnesh?
I have no experience in extracting string from file. So line 12, I want to go through that now, but I am clear about 13 and 14.
Okay, line 12. Yeah, explain line 12 days again.
And the open method will use it to again read or write the file. File handling read பண்ணலாம் ரைட் பண்ணலாம்.
ஆர்னு கொடுத்தா ரீட் மோட்ல ஓபன் ஆகுது.
எஸ் மேம். இல்லன்னா அது மென்ஷன் பண்ணலனாலும் அது வந்து நம்ம ப்ராசஸ் பண்றதுல இதாகும். ஆர் மென்ஷன் பண்ணனும்ன்ற அவசியம் இல்லை.
So, but yeah, so Python R no need to mention. Okay, if you want to read it, I'm sorry, if you want to write to the file, what do you need to do?
R க்கு பதிலா W யூஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாம்.
கண்டிப்பா கொடுத்தாகணுமா இல்ல கொடுக்கலனாலும் you can read. You can write.
கொடுக்கலனாலும் நம்ம ரீட் ரைட் பண்ணிக்கலாம். நம்ம இந்த அதுக்கு அப்புறம் நம்ம மெத்தட்ஸ் யூஸ் பண்றோம்.
அத
அதனால அது மென்ஷன்
பண்ணலனாலும் it will do. I see. I didn't know that. Okay. All right. So that is the first line. So what is the data type of passage? Line number 12. When you
Yes,
call
Mr.
the open function,
Yes, ma'am.
the open function returns what data type?
Strings are on.
It returns a string.
Yes, ma'am.
So how then line number 13 you are doing passage.read. So you are doing a read function on a string data type. You know what I mean? Do you understand my question?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So when you call a open, so okay, Google and tell me what is the data type of what data type does open return? When you call the open function in Python, I think this is the same in Java also, in any file handling. When you try to open a file, the function that opens the file returns what?
File object.
It returns a file object or a file handle, one of those. Right? It returns it's in Python, what is it? It's a file object. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Because it is the file object, you are able to call the function .read. Okay. Now, what does .read return? From a file object, when you call the function read, what happened? What is the return data type?
String or byte.
Say it again. It returns what?
String or byte array.
String or byte array. Okay. So you wrote the code, line number 13. You have written the code that says .read and then .replace and then .lower. So and what is this called? If you keep on adding functions, what is it called? What is that process called? Any of you? Java,
No.
Python. So you have read dot and then replace, you're calling another function and then put a dot and then calling another function. What is this thing, this method? What do we call this?
Multiple functions அப்படி ஒரே லைன்ல கால் பண்றது.
You are chaining those functions. Okay. So what does this mean? Passage.read இதுல எது first execute ஆகும், எது last execute. You're calling many functions. And the passage you're calling many functions. Which function is going to get executed first? Which is going to execute it next?
First read down.
Left to right.
Okay, it goes from left to right. So first it's going to call the read function. So the read function is called on what data type? What in this case, it's called on the passage, which is a file object. Right? So it is calling it on file object. And then what happens? Replace function is called on what data type? Passage.read returns what?
String.
String.
Yes. And then replace is called on replace is a function of what? File object or a string object?
String object.
Replace is for string, right? So when you say passage.read, why is .replace working?
Read will returns the string object.
Yes. Read, the first function is going to be called, the first function is read, and read returns a string. So you can put a dot and use a string function. Okay. And what does replace return? Replace
same string.
Same string? It's a string object,
String.
not the same string. You do
Yes.
right? It does some operation, which is replace in this case. It replaces. So now you have a string data type, and then you are calling it lower function on that string. Right? So the whole line, passage.read.replace.lower, the whole thing is done. When the whole thing is done, what is the return data type?
String.
I mean, you are not saying it confidently. You were just like, is it string? Is it string or is it file object? What is it going to return?
String.
Why is it going to return string?
Next line split function use பண்ணிருக்கோம். So string-ஆ இருந்தா மட்டும் தான் அதை access பண்ணும்.
Well, maybe next line is wrong. Maybe next line is wrong, right? Yet no, the reason is, yeah, Desikan, what is the reason why we think the final return?
First நம்ம file object வந்து நம்ம தான் read function கொடுத்து string-ஆ மாத்திட்டோம்னா அதுக்கப்புறம் வர அடுத்த functions எல்லாமே string-ஆ மட்டும் தான் இருக்கும்.
Correct. So passage is a file object. When the moment you did a read on it, that is returning a string. So even if I had not used replace and lower, the return is a string because read, that's what read returns. And then on the same string, I additionally call the replace function, which also returns a string. And then on that string, I call the lower function, which also returns a string. So the overall, the whole thing is going to return a string, right? So what is the data type of this passage?
Now it's string.
Now it is string. You started off at line number 12. Sorry?
File object.
First 12 file object is 13
string.
Okay, is it a good thing to do? Call it the same thing and keep changing its data types? No, not a good idea. If you're going to assign a variable something, stick to it. Don't change its data type. I think it's Python, it's allowing you to do it. But I don't know if you do it in Java and other language, it's going to say, what, passage is a file. How can you make it a string now? So never ever do that. It doesn't, not only changing the data type, but meaning also. When you first read that line number 12, when you open the file, what you are getting back is not the passage. You're getting a file object back. That is not the passage, right? So you should call it, passage file or file something. You should call it something that is more relevant. File handle or something like that, not passage. Passage is after you read. Once you read from the file, you get the passage. So file probably is a keyword. So you don't want to use file. Maybe you could call it file handle or, okay, yeah, something like that. My file, yeah, something like that. Okay. Okay. Where else do you need to change? Do you need to change anywhere else? No. Why not?
That line number 13 file
string convert பண்ணிட்டீங்க. So okay, so now line number 13, when all these operations, read, replace, lower, when all these operations are done, you are getting a passage back. Okay. So now what are you doing after 14? What are you doing?
After that, I will split the passage.
Okay. So whatever I just said, if people are discuss pannamo, the base panni, how will you rewrite line number? Is there a problem with line number 14? Will you change it? Good job. Okay, don't do it list 1. Don't do it list 1. Yes, it is a list. That is correct. What is it? List of what?
Sorry?
Don't call it
list of... String list.
List, split, yeah, because split function returns a list. List of what? In this case, passage, you are splitting the list of what?
List of...
When you split up passage, what do you get back? Words. List of words. You can either just call it words or you can call it list of words.
List of...
Your variable name should be either list, either words with a S in it because it's plural, or you can list words. Okay, fine, sure. All right, something like that. Do not call it list 1, 2 along. Don't do that. Okay. Okay, so far those are the 3 lines. So what did you learn in these 3 lines? Reviewing these 3 lines, what did you learn?
Open returning file object.
One நிமிஷம். Say it again one more time. Yeah. What did you learn in the 3 lines? Reviewing these 3 lines, what did you learn?
Open function will returns the file object.
Correct.
And the read function will returns the string object. And the split function will returns the list object.
Yes. So because, okay, that is one thing you learned. What else did you learn? What you should and should not do.
Don't use the same name in other data types.
Do not change the data type of your variables. Variables, you can change the value of the variable, but you cannot change the data type. Okay, so that is one of the thing. And what's the third one? What's another one you learned? When you were writing in line number 14, when you put list 1, what did I say?
A relevant name.
Correct. Give it proper name. Okay. Okay, good. So those are the first 3 lines. And then what happens? Where is your algorithm? You need to write comment. Right? You need to write what's going on from line number 16 to 29. You need to write that. So what is going on? Explain me your algorithm, not the code, your algorithm.
நான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஐடியா பண்ணி தி எல்லாம் கவுண்ட் பண்ணணும் மேம். அப்ப கவுண்ட் பண்றப்ப வந்து ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஏ அந்த அந்த லிஸ்ட்ல வந்து ஏ வந்து எந்த இடத்துல வருதோ அந்த இடத்துல இருந்து நெக்ஸ்ட் ஏ வர வரைக்கும் அதுல ஒரு சின்னதா ஒரு ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட் ஸ்டேட்டஸ்னு ஒரு இதுல வச்சு அதை பார்த்து அந்த இடத்துல எல்லாம் மட்டும் ஸ்டேட்டஸ் வந்து அதாவது டிங்கிற கவுண்ட் வந்து எடுத்துக்காது.
Okay, maybe I'll explain it a little bit more clearly. I'm not understanding.
இப்ப இந்த லிஸ்ட்ல வந்து இப்ப தி கிங் வெண்ட் எல்லாமே தனித்தனி செப்பரேட் வேர்ட்ஸா இருக்கும்.
Okay.
அதுல வந்து நம்ம ஒண்ணா எடுத்து நம்ம செக் பண்றப்ப தி எங்கெங்கெல்லாம் தி அக்கர் ஆகுதோ அதை வந்து நம்ம கவுண்ட் பண்ணிக்கிட்டே வருவோம் மேம். இப்ப வந்து கவுண்ட் பண்ணிக்கிட்டே வரப்ப இப்ப ஏ வந்து வந்துச்சுன்னா அதோட ஸ்டேட்டஸ் வந்து நான் வந்து டிஃபால்ட்டா ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஃபால்ஸ்னு கொடுத்துருக்கேன் மேம். அது ஏ வந்ததுக்கு அப்புறமேட்டு அதை வந்து நான் வந்து ட்ரூன்னு சேஞ்ச் பண்ணிட்டு எப்பெல்லாம் அந்த நம்ம தி செக் பண்றப்ப ட்ரூன் இருக்கோ அப்ப அதோட கவுண்ட் வந்து சேஞ்ச் பண்ணாம அப்படியே வச்சுக்கோங்க.
Count change பண்ணாம அப்படின்னா ஒண்ணும் பண்ண வேண்டாம்னு அர்த்தம். You're not doing anything. Counting equal to count is basically nothing. You're not doing anything. There's no reason to do that. If you're not going to do anything, why even do it? Why even do a call? Right? Seri, did this code work?
Yes. நான் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் பண்ணாச்சு நான் போட்டுனேன்.
சரி, நான் now that we explained in the king went to the forest. Okay, if that is your passage, does it have the answer for the answer வருதா?
இல்ல மேம், எனக்கு 6 வந்துச்சு.
6 வந்தது. பட் நான் அதுல போட்டுருக்கேனே ஆல்ரெடி இந்த
அது எனக்கு அந்த இதுல வந்து ஆன்சர்ல வந்து தி கிங் தி ஃபாரஸ்ட் தி கிங் அண்ட் தி நெக்ஸ்ட் அண்ட் போட்டு ஃபோன் போட்டுருக்கீங்க. அது எனக்கு கன்ஃபியூஸா இருந்துச்சு.
ஓகே, இப்ப புரிஞ்சுதா?
இல்ல மேம், அது என்ன இதுல அந்த ஆன்சர் வந்திருக்குன்னு
இன்னும் புரியல, இப்பவும் புரியலையா? ஓகே, மேபி தர்னிஷ், do you want to explain?
Sure. எந்த லைன்ல?
இல்ல, he wants to know எப்படி 4 எப்படி வந்ததுன்னு he wants to understand the problem.
Sure. அது இப்ப ஃபர்ஸ்ட் லைன்ல வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா the king went to the forest அப்படின்னு ஃபுல்லா போகுதுல. நம்மளுக்கு என்ன கேட்டிருக்காங்கன்னா 2 த வரணும், அந்த த 2 த வரதுக்கு நடுவுல வந்து ஒரு ஏ இருக்க கூடாதுன்னு சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. சோ இப்ப நம்ம அந்த அக்கரன்ஸ் எப்ப வருதுன்னா the king went to the forest, அதுல வந்து 2 த வந்துருது கண்டினியூ இதுவா, ஆனா நடுவுல ஒரு ஏவும் இல்ல. சோ அது வந்து நம்பர் 1. ஓகே, அடுத்து அதே த ஃபாரஸ்ட் இருக்குல்ல, அதுல இருந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா த ஃபாரஸ்ட் வித் த ஒய்ஃப், அந்த 2 தக்கும் நடுவுல ஒரு ஏ இல்ல. சோ அது நம்பர் 2. அடுத்து த ஒய்ஃப்ல இருந்து நம்ம பாக்குறோம் த ஒய்ஃப் அண்ட் அ சர்வன்ட் ஃபுல் ஸ்டாப் த கிங்னு இருக்கு. பட் அங்க நடுவுல வந்து ஒரு ஏ வந்துருச்சு. ஸோ அதை நம்ம ஸ்கிப் பண்ணிடுறோம். இப்போதைக்கு 2 இருக்கு. அடுத்து இப்ப த கிங்ல இருந்து பார்த்தா த கிங் ஷாட் அ டீர் த ஃபுல் ஸ்டாப் த, ஆனா அதுக்கும் நடுவுல ஏ வந்துருச்சு. ஸோ ஸ்கிப் பண்ணிடுறோம். ஸோ லாஸ்ட் லைன் வந்து லாஸ்ட் லைன்ல தான் 2 அக்கரன்ஸ் மீதி. அது என்னதுன்னா த கிங் வென்ட் டு த ஃபாரஸ்ட். அதுல வந்து 2 தாக்கு நடுவுல ஒரு ஏவும் இல்லை. ஸோ அது 3வது. அடுத்து த ஃபாரஸ்ட் அகைன் த நெக்ஸ்ட் டே, அதுக்கும் நடுவுல எந்த ஏவும் இல்லை. ஸோ அது 4th. மொத்தம் 4 அக்கரன்ஸ்.
புரிஞ்சுதா? Okay. Now maybe the code probably is not correct. You have to go rewrite this code. சரியா? Okay. So Dharnesh, did you do it?
Yes ma'am. ஜாவால நான் போட்டிருக்கேன்.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, show me. Yeah, show me.
நான் screen stop பண்ணுங்க.
நீங்க ஸ்டாப் பண்ணிருங்க. Try the code again. Okay. Now that you understood, so you have to, the code should follow the understanding.
Yes ma'am.
I'm going to start counting these, and then I'm going to check for A or D. Then I have to see, okay, first ஒரு D கையில வச்சிருக்கேன் நானு. If I get another D, then immediately I'm going to increase my count. If I get a A after, then I will not count my D. Something like that. Yes.
நான் ஃபைல் யூஸ் பண்ணதால அப்படியே அந்த சென்டென்ஸ் அப்படியே ப்ரூட் ஃபோர்ஸ்ல
Okay, sure. And why is it called 3?
அது நான் மாத்திறேன். தேர்ட் ப்ராப்ளம்னால அப்படியே ரீநேம் பண்ணிட்டேன்.
Okay, got it. All right.
அல்காரிதம் சொல்லுவாங்க.
அல்காரிதம் சொல்லுங்க.
ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வந்து டெக்ஸ்ட் வந்து அந்த
try to explain in English.
Sure. So what I have done is that with the input sentence I have stored in the string text here. So I have split the text using split built-in function and stored it in words array, string array. So I have iterated through the words array up to last 2 index before the last one.
Where is that?
So from there, ma'am, that's the least case. So that that's only the last possible occurrence of those constraint case. No? So I have reduced to word length -2.
Okay.
So, okay. So the iteration first, what it does is that so 2 loop I have used. Ma'am, the first loop will take the first occurrence of the word in the text.
Okay.
So if the word is the, it takes into account, and I have incremented a variable j simultaneously. What j does is that it will iterate through the text, and it will look for a word a. If a word a occurs before another word, the loop breaks. As long as a does not follow the word, the loop goes on.
Okay, explain me that while statement, line number 25. So you are finding the, okay, line number 22, you are finding the first the, right?
First
the first the is okay. So the first the is okay.
Then from the next word,
next
from the word next to the first the variable j will keeps on iterating.
Okay.
So what it does is that as long as the word is not a, it goes on increment. Along with that, the if case, what it does is that if the next forthcoming words are the, a count variable will keep on incrementing. So it keeps tracks of 2 words with no a in between them.
So I understand your code. So I think line number 25, you are checking, find a, let's say if I take the example I gave, the king went to the whatever, right? So I will be the first D. So I will be 0. Okay. So J is 1. So what is the while loop doing? So
from the king, it will goes on iterating until the next dharma. If king went to the forest.
So when the J comes to line number 28, what will be J?
Line number 28.
When it comes to line number 28, what will be the value of
5?
5 with the wife. Oh, no, sorry. Went to the forest. Because your condition matches, is it? Words of equal to whatever, that condition matches. So
fourth index.
Okay, so that matches. So you were going to say
increment the count.
So you're going to increment the count. Only if it is a D, then it's going to increment the count. Okay, and then what happens? Then you're going up. The for loop goes.
Then from the next term, then it goes to the king, ma'am.
No. Then I goes where? No, hold on. So you are
I
in
goes
J,
to first index,
which will be 1, nah?
I'm sorry, I can't understand.
So we said I equal to 1, I equal to 0 because the first cake, the king, right?
Yes.
So that's why your I is D now, right? And then you are keeping on incrementing your J until you get to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. The king index. Okay, fourth index, and then you are incrementing count plus. So line number 29 executes. After line number 29, what will be the line? What is the next line that's going to execute?
I will get incremented to 1.
I will get incremented to 1. Okay, so which means you are going to go from. Okay.
We will go to line 22, ma'am, where the word will be compared to the string the. If since it not matches, so I will increment to 3, ma'am.
Okay.
It will go to went.
This will go
so
until
it will keep on going until the forest. Until we get the next
the. Now, so you have, if you look at your code, you have a for loop and then you have a while loop. So basically, your sentence is traversed many times, right? If the package is, I don't know, 1,000 pages long, look at the amount of
I have solved basic answers code notes of n complexity. I haven't considered that case.
No. Yeah, correct. See, again, I don't even want you guys to overthink. Complexity. Such a simple thing. Simply, if you just think about it, you already know that J is doing the same thing. J is also looking for the D and the A, right?
Yes.
Then why I is doing the exact same thing all over again? What is the simple thing you can do to avoid I going from all over again? What is the simplest code you can add in this thing, which will avoid repeating through the king and went and all that one more time? So, okay, what is the complexity here? You are unnecessarily
and we have incrementing the J.
Correct.
So the next increment can be I plus J.
Next increment where?
Next increment of I can be I plus J.
Yes. Okay. How will you write the code?
I'm just changing here.
Can you do that? I plus J? I don't know.
Oh, this is. I will.
So how can you change it?
We are requesting for only one loop. No?
I'm not saying yes, only one loop is the next thing. That's what we should do. But even in this code, the idea is, but you understand why I'm saying this. Anyways, you went through your sentence up until where the next D is. You start off with the first.
Yes.
Your I is the first D. Your J is the next, either D or A, right?
Yes.
So your J already found A or D. You know for sure until that J there is no D. You already know that. then why would I go all the way to J again and again and again? Why should we do it? We shouldn't be doing it. There's no need to do it.
That's what I tried to do, but we can't like this. It will be correct logically, but
Correct.
it's not
Okay.
going to be.
Okay. Maybe for loop is not the right thing to do. Maybe you have to use something else.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Maybe you should. Yes. Then you think. This is how you think. To see, you don't try and put it within the. Oh, I started off with the for loop, and I'm going to figure out how to change for loop to my thinking. No. You think, okay, this is what I need to do. Okay, for loop is not the one. I'm going to do while loop now.
Again, I don't know why it's showing error.
I don't know. Is plus equal to J? Is that a thing in the syntax way? Is that an error? It says error.
Yes.
Okay. If you do I equals I plus J,
it's showing error.
J is not initialized.
Yes.
You need to put J equal to 0 or something. Then it will take it because your J is initialized within the if. So
now it's there.
No. Correct. It is correct. But where should the J be initialized? Oh,
inside
I guess.
Sorry.
Okay. You're still going to have a problem. What is the problem? This again, are you looking at the code?
Yes, ma'am.
So what is the problem here? Where is I getting incremented? It's going to sit in an infinite loop. If my sentence is I am a king, you would think you'll be sitting in an infinite loop. Why do you think if my sentence is I am a king, I am the king, let's say, you will be in an infinite loop? Why? So you are initializing I to 0. Okay, take the first one. Your I, you're going to check your if statement. It is not the. Where is it going to go from after the if? What will be the next statement?
Incrementing I to
I plus J, which is 0. So 0 plus 0 is 0 again. So you are adding 0 every time.
Yes.
Okay, so these are all things that you need to think. Okay, redo the code. We are not going to solve it here, but redo the code. You guys can look at it again next week. But when you're going to redo, my suggestion is try to write it with only one for or one while. Do not use to. There are many better ways to do it. Okay, so think of how can I different logic. It will be a different logic, similar to what Desigan did earlier with the status, and if the status is true, false, something like that. Use a Boolean. So basically, you're going to check. Okay, I have a D now. Okay, and then I'm going to keep on incrementing. If I find A, I will not increment my counter. If I find a count, I'm going to. If I find another D, I'm going to increment my counter, and I'm going to reset my status to I have a D now. That's it. Only one for loop. I know I didn't explain the whole thing, but I want you to think along these lines, along on what I said. That will be your better algorithm. That'll be you'll be parsing the whole thing only one time. Okay, one way to do it. The other way to do it, I don't know, Java has these functions. Look for a thing next occurrence. Is there a thing called, do I have a next occurrence?
I haven't
Yeah, maybe there is something you don't have to convert it into. Okay. So this is the first question. Okay, it's okay. Answer this one, which is find the A. You are splitting into words. What happens if you do you have the problem statement written? Go up a little bit. Do you have the problem statement? Okay. If you look at the second sentence, which is the king went to the forest again the next day, right? Between the forest and the next day, is there a between the forest? No, there is a A. Again, there is A.
Oh, it's not a separate word.
It is not a word, exactly. But what is the question saying? The question says A. It doesn't
So
say
we have to look inside the string also.
Exactly. You have to look inside. So that will be step 2. First, you write it for words. It's okay. That's the simplest form. Next, write it for what if the A is in the word? It's one of the exactly. How will you change your code?
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how you think. That's why this is not a simple problem. You still have to think about it. All right. That will be the homework for next week.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Any questions? I'm going to end the recording. All right. So if you know questions, I will see you guys next week. All right.